Welcome to this special holiday episode of Who Gets the China. I wanted to share a story about traditions, why we keep them going, and how we can honor them while still remaking them in our own eye. I hope you'll smile if you see yourself in this episode, or maybe be relieved when you don't. Thankfully, this is a tradition my family still enjoys, or at least indulges me in. And for that, I am eternally grateful. Last night, we ordered pizza, turned on the fire, and put on a silly holiday movie, Four Christmases. Reese and Vince never disappoint. And busted out the dedicated red and green holiday storage boxes from our basement. As I climb up the step stool to hang a silver glass ball, it promptly drops to the ground, making the familiar tinkling sounds of a glass ornament shattering into 100 tiny shards on the hardwood floor. My husband looks up at me from the couch, smiles, claps, and gleefully remarks, "The first ornament of Christmas!" Cheering for the first broken ornament of Christmas has become a sort of tradition in our house. I used to get very upset when a cherished ornament broke, perhaps overly upset. Let me back up a little bit and explain the why. When my oldest daughter was 4, we bought a delicate glass ball filled with sand and tiny little shells on a beach vacation. I loved this souvenir from a special trip and cherished the memories every time I hung it on the tree. One year it fell and shattered, sending sand, mini shells, and glass everywhere. I was heartbroken. I just couldn't let it go. I swept up what I could, and the next year I filled a new bauble with the remnants of sand and shells. Was this ridiculous? Was I clinging to the symbol of a memory a little too hard? Maybe. As an adult, the joy of Christmas decorating is unwrapping history and reliving the small moments of childhood joy. I love opening the boxes filled with tissue paper and small boxes containing a lifetime of Christmas decorations, many from when my mom was a girl. There's a set of metal ice skating and sledding figurines from when she was young I still love to set up on the dining room buffet. But if I'm being honest, the ornaments hold the most magic for me. They have memories tied to them from all stages of life, and hanging them on the tree is an annual walk down memory lane. But before we get to the ornaments, let's not forget the true star of the Christmas decorating show, the tree. Growing up in the 70s, finding the perfect tree was a ritual for my family. Some years we shopped the pop-up tree store nearby. Some years, my favorite years, we ventured to cut down our own Christmas tree. We visited a quaint Connecticut tree farm where the trees were all planted in long rows and pruned from year to year to form idealized store-bought shapes. You'd take a wagon ride out to a section, they'd hand you a small orange-handled saw, and you'd get to it. Or my dad would, more accurately. They were all picture-perfect versions of storybook trees. But still, we agonized over picking the most perfect tree. My mom was quite particular. No, this one has a bare spot. No, this one leans a little. No, this one isn't quite tall enough. It seemed to take hours to pick the perfect tree. When we were finally done and freezing, we'd take the wagon along with our tree back to the barn. We'd sip hot cocoa with marshmallows while my dad tied the thing to the top of our Buick station wagon with its faux wood paneling. We were tired and excited to get home and decorate this beauty. Of course, I inherited this obsession for the perfect tree. I couldn't help but soak it up. As newlyweds, my husband and I lived in San Francisco. I was determined to replicate my childhood tree-cutting adventures, and we drove to a coastal tree farm somewhere at least an hour away, maybe 2. After traipsing around for hours, I decided these strange California evergreens just would not do. I missed my old Douglas firs, perfect for hanging ornaments. We left empty-handed. We eventually schlepped one home from a corner tree lot near our apartment. I let the quest for perfect trees go for a while. Then came kids. Having kids completely shifted my outlook on Christmas. The passion for perfect everything came flooding back. There needed to be cookies, crafts, carols, and of course, the perfect tree. When our oldest daughter was 4 years old, my husband couldn't take my obsession about finding the perfect tree anymore. He never said this out loud, but one evening a tree showed up on our front porch. "Oh my gosh, you guys, look!" he exclaimed, opening the front door. "The tree fairy was here. She dropped off this beautiful Christmas tree just for us." I was not told about this in advance. I was not happy that this important task had been unceremoniously delegated to a fairy, but I couldn't show that. My daughter was overjoyed at this magic moment, so I played along. My husband was saving me from myself just a little bit and saving himself from some agony. I grew to appreciate this tradition for a while. The tree fairy came for a few more years, and my kids still cherish that tradition. Eventually, our kids got bigger, and I decided it was time to relaunch the tradition of cutting down our own tree. In Colorado, this looks a lot different than in Connecticut. In Colorado, this is a wilderness fire mitigation strategy served up by the Parks Association. For $20, they sell you a permit for a specific day after Thanksgiving when you can hike into the protected forest land and cut down virtually any tree you can carry out. This means you can snag a 14 or 16-foot tree for a song instead of hundreds of dollars. It also means traipsing through the woods to find the perfect specimen. Some years you're navigating a few feet of snow, other years it's 60 degrees. Bringing a sled to drag said tree back to your car is a good idea because you can walk for a very long time on this quest. Our dog was happiest on these adventures, romping around on huge rock formations while we searched, often venturing deep into the woods. Some years we find one quickly. Usually the time searching is in direct relation to the temperature. But bear in mind, these are wild, forested trees. They have not been trimmed or coaxed into storybook shapes over the last 15 or 20 years. Finding a big, bushy, 9-foot triangle is not going to happen. Somewhere along the way, I learned to relax my expectations because if I didn't, I'd drive my family batty. If I'm being honest, I still drive them a little batty. "How about this one? It looks cute," someone will venture. From 20 yards ahead, I'll say, maybe, it's a possibility. Let's keep walking. I think I see a good one on that ridge." And so it goes until we find the one. Some years it has had 2 trunks. Some years it's been very sparse. Other years, so tall we had to trim the top. They often have a Charlie Brown quality to them that we've come to love and appreciate. We recall each one fondly years later. "Remember that flat Stanley tree? I loved that tree," someone will recall while we try to hang heavy ornaments on spindly little branches. Rewiring the programming you received growing up is not easy. I acknowledge I'm a little obsessed with the perfect tree. I know where this comes from. I actively try to be more easygoing, less particular. I take the gentle ribbing from my family and try to prioritize having a positive experience over the end result. It has taken 20-something years, but I have come to value the journey more than finding the perfect tree, or at least as much. When we get home from tree hunting, we are pooped. It's usually Thanksgiving weekend, so we tuck into turkey soup and turn on Elf, too tired to deal with 6 bins of decor or untangling tons of lights. Eventually, I open the first green bin and search for ornaments lightweight enough to hang on these delicate trees. This usually means glass balls, embroidered little birds, or lighter than air glass trains and ballerinas. This leaves a lot of unused ornaments in our bin, but bringing myself to downside ornaments is hard. I keep a broken ballerina from a trip to the Nutcracker, telling myself I'll glue the broken arm back on someday. All these ornaments represent sweet moments and fond memories of Christmases past. A couple of years ago, we left the day after Christmas to visit my parents. I couldn't bear to take the ornaments off the tree and pack them up on Christmas Day. It was way too depressing. So our tall but spindly tree stayed up to be dealt with upon our return. When we walked in the door 5 days later, we were greeted with a horizontal tree laying across our couch and leaning up against the garage entry door. "Oh my gosh," we all yelped. And then we laughed. I dropped my bags and leapt into damage assessment mode. There on the floor, in 100 pieces with glass, sand, and shells strewn everywhere, was my beloved beach trip ornament, the one I rescued almost 20 years ago. My heart sank. Then I thought of my husband clapping at the annual first broken ornament of Christmas, smiled at the memory, and swept the broken glass up. It's time to let this ornament go, finally, knowing that even without the ornament, the memory will live on. Thank you so much for listening to this special holiday episode of Who Gets the China. I hope it made you smile and made you think about the value of your own holiday traditions. I wish you happy holidays and a wonderful new year. Who Gets the China is written and hosted by Kirsten Mao, produced by Aaron Bryce of Blue Ogden Productions. Our theme music is composed by Greg Fellman of Wind Sand Productions. Our cover art is by Jen Beam of Gigawatt Studio. For more stories and expert advice, follow along on Substack or at www.whogetsthechina.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone who might appreciate the conversation. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time.